You already know, Parker Vision's in full effect right now. PGC TV, we out here with the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Benzino. What's up, bro?
I appreciate the love, man, for real.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. DC, you know, my man Dave Mays is stomping ground, so, you know, I'm in the DMV. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Man, you kind of, in the last couple of months, have been able to kind of almost reinvent yourself. We know Benzino was a certain type of a character, and now we see you on the TV giving love advice, it's a different guy now.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. You know, me and Dave with the Source magazine, and I done had a couple of rap groups, the RSO, Made Men, my solo career. So, you know, really just as a person, I've evolved. You know, I mean, you grow up, you know what I'm saying? Life throws things at you. You live, you learn, and you know what I'm saying? Any mistakes or any paths that might have been bumpy, you know, you just avoid those, and you just, you know, you try to stay on that straight and narrow, you know?
No, I got to ask you, though, man, we kind of come from the same area, kind of same place, both from the Boston area. You're from Boston, I'm from the Boston area, of course. And I understand what it's like to be in the game and not have a lot of people kind of giving you anything, and kind of having to knock down doors a little bit, make some aggressive moves. Do you think over the last, I don't know, 15 years, can you say, I mean, obviously you talked about Eminem, you said, hey, my bad, it's cool, we've grown past that. You know, talk about some of the different things that you may have, now you look back, think, man, like, what was I doing?
I mean, definitely the Eminem thing, you know, was definitely one of them where, I mean, you know, me and Dave was at, you know, we was at the Source, you know, we was at the top, so sometimes when you're at the top, you know, like your vision gets blurred sometimes. And, you know, I mean, Eminem's a great lyricist, and definitely, you know, he represents, you know what I'm saying, hip-hop, and he should be able to represent hip-hop. Back then, I probably was a little more angry, you know, growing up in Boston and growing up in the hood and the street and everything, and you know, everything I went through was probably a little angry. You know, I look back and some of the shots, you know, I mean, hip-hop, number one, is about battling, of course, but I think, you know, some of the shots I took were a little more personal. You know, I went on MTV and definitely apologized to hip-hop as well as to Eminem, you know.
It's pretty bold for a guy who's, you know, credited for doing a lot of good and some little bit of negative, but you've done a lot of good for the culture.
Right. I mean, you know what? I mean, but at the end of the day, I'm a man, and, you know, I'm human. And I make mistakes, and, you know, I got 3 kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm a single dad raising my kids in Atlanta, and, you know, I got to be that first type of role model for them. You know, I can't really be hypocritical. You know, nobody's perfect. Right. And, you know, like, as long as you're living, it really is a lifelong learning experience. You never really stop learning until you're in that box. And, you know, I'm just trying to better myself all the time, and I just felt that it was time to put that out there to hip-hop, you know, because that was, you know, like, there was a crazy time, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, it's a blessing that I am able to reach people and reach the public now in a whole different light, and it's a blessing. I appreciate that. So, you know. Yeah.
Most definitely, man. Like, you know, thinking about the almighty RSO days, the Made Men days. Now we see you now in this new role. Do you feel comfortable in this new role? Do you like the space you're in right now?
Yeah, of course, definitely. You know, I mean, it's always, you know, if positive is always going to be better than negative. You know, negativity, I probably fed off it more when I was younger. You know, because you grow up a certain way, and, you know, you develop this pride that can be, really, it's a false sense of pride, because the things that you really are proud of when you look back, that there aren't things that you should be proud of. But, you know, like I said, you live and you learn, and, you know, as a human being, you're supposed to evolve when you get older. And, you know, I like the space I'm in now because, you know, at the end of the day, if it can bring more smiles than, you know, controversy, that's always a good thing.
The magazine's doing really, really well. Talk to me about the difference between running a publication like The Source and now running Hip Hop Weekly.
Well, it was a different time. You know what I'm saying? Like, The Source was when, you know, and I credit that to Dave and everybody that worked in The Source magazine. That goes for everybody that worked there. And there's too many to name. So, you know, but it was a different time. You know, The Source magazine was like really ahead of the curve as far as publications go in hip-hop journalism, where a lot of the stuff was political, and you can really get on that, you know, whereas that hip-hop took the forefront as far as politics and decisions as far as in people's lives. Right now, it's not like that. You know, right now it really is with the internet. Everything is fast, and I think the politics really ain't as much involved, although we have a hip hop president. You know, Obama really is in office because of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? As far as that's
I've
my
seen
opinion.
a commercial on TV with Jay-Z, like, hey, Jay-Z, speak on behalf, and he goes in and like,
Yeah, like I mean, who'd have thought that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jay-Z coming from Marcy Projects, Reasonable Doubt album, you know, and now he's, you know, basically raising millions for Obama. So, you know, we've come a long way, but I think as far as publications go, because of the internet, you know, we had to adapt, and Hip Hop Weekly was just our, you know, was our. I mean, it was when you look at Hip Hop Weekly, it really is a magazine to where it's not a lot of long reading, but it's just stuff that's happening. It comes out every 2 weeks. It's almost like People Magazine meets The Source. You know, we have some of the features, but they're shorter features, and you know, we don't have too much politics in there. So, you know, hip hop's changed, so we had to change with it. You know?
if you were still running The Source today, would you give Kendrick Lamar's album 5 mics?
You know what? You know, me, and I'm gonna keep this 100. You know, the mic system. You know, I've never gave anybody. I was never involved with giving anybody a mic rating. You know, there was always the Source magazine had a mind squad and different people in the magazine that they would go in the back room and you'd have different people's opinions. What I want to say is that, you know, I probably took that for granted and didn't really understand how important that was. You know, I met Praz, Noriega's like my brother. That's like my brother. And, you know, they used to be like, man, I thought you was the one that gave me. And I was like, nah, you know, I had to tell them. And, you know, what I want to tell people is at the end of the day, no matter what you might read as a rating, I think you still have to give your own, you know, you have to give yourself a chance to hear it, because no matter what somebody else might say, you might think different. So, you know, I've heard Kendrick's album. I think Kendrick's one of the, you know, definitely one of the hot young, you know, artists out there. His rhymes, you know, his rhyme scheme is crazy. So I really kind of stay away from as far as like rating anything. I think I think he's a hot artist. I think he put out a hot product. I don't get into the ratings of it, because it really is one person's opinion. You know what I'm saying?
But like, I can remember growing up reading the magazine and it being like the holy grail of the culture. And if you check it, we would go to it, we would open it, go right to the mics, and if you had a 5 mic rating, you were God to us. And when I hear the Kendrick album, I feel like, you know what? If it was still, you know, if y'all was still doing it, I feel like that would be one of the ones that was in the running, a 4.5, 5, right on the, you know what I mean?
See, but like with me is like, again, you know, there's so many different genres of hip hop, you know, and especially when we grew up, you know, there was gangster hip hop, you had your backpack, you know what I'm saying, you had your, you know, like your up tempo, different parts of the country, the BPMs were different, so it was just so many different vibes in hip hop that it's really hard for a person to really be like, okay, I think this album should get this, because that person might grew up in a totally different area, say as somebody in West Coast or in East Coast. So
I've heard people say E40 is trash, and I'm like, yo, this dude is a living legend in the Bay Area.
Of course, you know what I mean, and the Bay Area loves his music.
My man, shout out to E40, man.
Shout out to you know, 40 definitely. But you know, I just think that, you know what I'm saying, you just got to give your, you know, you have to listen to it as much as possible. Of course, right now hip hop, I feel, is like definitely, I wouldn't call it, I mean, I would say it's oversaturated, and the only reason I say that is because it's just so many people rapping, you know, but, you know, you got to make sure that whatever you're doing, that there's a passion in it. I think a lot of people get into hip-hop for the wrong reasons. I think, you know, what's kept me loving hip-hop was because I love hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hip-hop saved my life, you know, I grew up in Boston, you know, Boston was ganged out.
I feel the same way.
You know, like, you know, so, I mean, I love hip-hop, and I'll never stop doing music, you know. So, you know, I mean, I really believe that if you love something and you put the time into it, and that goes for anything, I believe that you'll get the rewards, you know what I'm saying, later on, you know, so.
It's nice to sit with you and talk about this. I was talking to Rip earlier. I remember a couple of years ago, maybe like 04, 05, being in a party. Benzino stepped in the party. His party's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo, this man had a certain vibe, but to be with you and talk positively is amazing, man. What's next for you? Like, we know the TV show is rocking. You got the new song. You got some new music. Talk to me about what's next, man.
I mean, you know, loving hip-hop, ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Stevie J and all the cast members, Mona Scott, loving hip-hop. You know, I actually start shooting on Monday, you know what I'm saying? We'll be, you know, for the second season. It's going to be crazy. I have a show on V103 called Zeno After Dark, where I'm giving relationship advice.
So crazy to me. It's dope. It's dope, but it's
Who would ever thought, right?
no, but it's cool to see that even a guy like you, who a lot of people were like, "Yo, man, I can't even mess with him."
Right.
Now that you get a chance to do something like this.
I mean, you know what? I mean, especially as far as relationships and everything. Like, you know, I've been in some relationships, some good, some bad. So, you know, I have some insight towards it. And you know, I was raised right. At the end of the day, I might have been, you know, jumping into a lot of controversy back then, but my mom and my dad raised me well to respect women, to respect people. You know, I might have got caught up back then, you know, as far as how I thought things should have been. But at the end of the day, those were my selfish thoughts. And I've been able to really like look at life and look at people as a whole, that everybody counts. And it just isn't about Zeno. So loving hip hop is, you know, it shed a great light on me. I got an album coming out. My son, you know, Ray has his mixtape coming out. You know, I'm raising my kids, you know what I'm saying? I got a 19-year-old Ray, 15-year-old daughter, and a 9-year-old.
Ray is 19 now.
He's 19 now, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was just
the pictures. He was a little boy.
Yo, he was 9 years old when he had an album deal on Interscope with Baby Pun and James, and he's still, you know, he's gonna be going to Georgia State this year. And man, you know what I'm saying? I'm just basically raising my 3 kids in Atlanta. And we do Hip Hop Weekly, and you know, man, that's it, man. Staying in the gym, you know, trying to stay young, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You gotta look right for the TV.
Well, you gotta look right for the TV, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to my guy, Big Steve, Rip City, you know what I'm saying, man? And you know,
Good people out here with you, man.
yeah. Shout out to Eben Gregory also. He's from the DMV. Eben has been with Hip Hop Weekly from day one. In the back, when you go, you know, he does the back column, man. He's funny, man. Great writer, great dude, man. So shout out to everybody. I used to come here with Almighty R. So Howard Homecoming, man. So I've been coming to DC for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
We out here with Benzino, no problems. Everything is cool. We're very peaceful.
Baby, it's all love.